Welcome back to America's Retirement Headquarters, home of the Retirement Guys formula and America's Medicare Associates. 419-794-3030 is the number. 419-794-3030. Online, americasretirementheadquarters.com. If you missed the first half of the show or previous editions of the show, don't forget to always available online, pretty much wherever you want. You can check out YouTube, Facebook, it's there, and then via podcast, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, all there for you. Just search for America's Retirement Headquarters. And since we've started this second half, the full hour of the show, listeners will know that we've started a segment called Committed to the 419. And this week we are pleased to have Laura Simmons-Wark with Humane Ohio. So welcome to the show, Laura. And guys, I'll let you take it away.
Yes, well, Laura, thank you very much for coming in. We really appreciate it. I don't even know how many guests we've had so far, but we're very excited to talk to you and hear what you have to say about Humane Ohio. So let's start with this. Let's learn a little bit about you, and then we'll jump into a bunch of questions we have for you.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for having us on. Again, my name's Laura. I am the Director of Partnerships, Outreach, and Development for Humane Ohio. I've been working in the animal sheltering field for actually over 20 years now, if you can believe it. So yeah, a little while. I've been kind of around to a few different places, and I've been with Humane Ohio for over 2 years now, doing all their marketing and outreach and really trying to get the word out about what Humane Ohio does. So if you're not familiar with Humane Ohio, we are a local, low-cost, high-volume, high-quality spay-neuter clinic here in the Toledo area. And we don't just serve Toledo. We actually work with over 11 different counties across the area. A lot of people don't know that. So we actually do transports to these 11 different counties as well. So actually just this morning, we were down in Lima and picked up like 60 cats to come for spay and neuter at our clinic. Yeah, it's a very, very noisy truck ride back. So
I bet so.
Yeah, just cats don't like car rides as much. So. Yeah, so we do a whole lot across the area. So we're a little bit different than like a normal shelter or veterinarian's office. We actually started back in 2006 when our founder found that there was a real need for spay and neuter. So that's making sure animals don't continue to reproduce in this area, and it started as what's called a MASH clinic, or a mobile animal sterilization hospital. So they would even pop up in like gymnasiums and places and do spay and neuter on animals. And then kind of as the years went on, it evolved, and there was a building that was purchased on Tremainsville Road in Toledo. And then just right before the pandemic, we actually purchased a new building over on West Alexis Road.
It's beautiful, by the way. I've been there.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to ask you about that.
Yes.
Yeah. And we just love this new building, and talk about a renovation during the time of COVID, trying to fundraise for that, doing a capital campaign. Learned a lot. We flew by the seat of our pants, and we made it happen, and we absolutely love our new building.
That is awesome. So you are different from the regular Humane Society, right?
We sure are. So a lot of people get us fused with like the Toledo Humane Society, and it is kind of confusing with our name. And we also have sometimes people think that they have to live in Ohio in order to get their animal fixed with us. But you can really come from wherever you want to come from. We see a lot of clients from Michigan, and even some from other states, actually. We are that cheap compared to some other places.
Well, since you mentioned that, I'll jump in on that real quick. So like we said before we came on the air, I actually used your facility. I was browbeated into getting a puppy.
What?
Oh yes, my wife and the kids, they said we need it. I said okay. So we finally broke down, and I contacted a personal friend of mine who is actually a veterinarian that we use, and talked to him about bringing my dog in, and he said $420.
Oh my goodness.
I'm like, are you kidding me? $420? And my wife, who is a very smart shopper, she actually heard about Humane Ohio and set an appointment up. And I think when we came in there, and I don't want to quote wrong numbers here, but I think it was like $80.
You've got it. Yeah, we went up to 100. So
okay,
not bad.
Still 100 is better than 400. I was very, very pleased with that. So we came in, and we brought our puppy in. Her name is Harper. The parking lot was packed
every morning.
Yep. And at the time it was January, so it was very, very cold. And you sign in with COVID, you had to sign in and all that. The process was very, very smooth. It went very, very well. And I think the next day I picked her up. Everything was perfect. I can't say enough about how smoothly the whole process went. I'm sure you get that a lot.
Yeah, that is so fantastic to hear. And that's something we really, I guess one of the good things that came out of the pandemic is we actually had to streamline our intake process because on an average day, we see between 80 and 100 dogs and cats.
Wow.
And think about that. Those animals didn't walk themselves there. So that's 80 to 100 families that are, bringing them there. And we have to check all their information, make sure they feel comfortable, get their pets comfortable. We're a machine, I will say, a very well-oiled, compassionate machine. So I'm very happy to hear that you had such a great experience. And a big question, though, did your dog get the fancy cone of shame to wear?
Yes, she did, but she didn't really actually need it, which was cool. Another thing that they did was we bought the chip.
Yeah, the microchip.
Yeah, the microchip.
Yep, microchip. It's a permanent form of identification. So if your dog or cat gets out, maybe they lose their collar or tag, it's a way if they were to be picked up, they could be scanned and you could be essentially contacted that way. So that's great. And a lot of people don't know about our services really, but they might hear about it word of mouth or maybe even listening to this station here. But we do so many dogs and cats, and we're a little bit different than like a normal veterinary office where we have actually 2 full-time veterinarians on staff and then a whole medical staff and support staff. And our veterinarians are essentially specialists for spay and neuter. That is what they do all day, every day. And our 2 that we have right now, they are just absolute rock stars. I cannot say enough good things. And we're at maybe a normal veterinarian where they do spay and neuter, on a fairly daily basis. They're not doing the volume that we do.
Sure.
So when the dogs and cats come into us, they're actually under anesthesia an even shorter amount of time than they would be at a normal veterinarian. So a dog, a spay might take about 20 minutes for us as opposed to like over an hour at some other clinics.
Wow.
Yeah.
So do you take feral cats? I mean, do you do those? Because I remember in a house that I used to live in, it was in the woods, and we had all kinds of cats running in the backyard. So we ended up catching them and taking them in, and I don't even know where, back then, I don't even know where we took them. But one of the things they did was they actually clipped the ear. Do you still do that?
We sure do. So there's something called TNR, or Trap, Neuter, Return. So this is for those feral cats or community cats, the ones that they might not have an actual owner, but, kind of live in the neighborhood. So we actually have people bring these cats into us. It can be, if they're handleable, they could put them in a carrier or with like a humane live trap, which we actually rent those out. They come in, we do their surgery for them. They get that ear tip, it's called. So it's a visual indicator that's universally used to show that cat has been fixed. A lot of people are like, why do they do that? It's so weird. It saves that cat a lot of stress for in the future, so they're not trapped again. So you can say, look at that cat and be like, oh, I know that one's already fixed. I'm going to go for this other one that doesn't have that ear tip yet. And then they also get a rabies vaccine as part of their outdoor cat package while they're there. And then they get picked up the next day, and then they're actually returned right back to where they were trapped from. And what that does is it makes a cat that is fixed there that's not reproducing. But if you just remove that cat from an area, other cats are going to move in because there's some resource there that those cats are wanting to be there. So it helps kind of, you're keeping the rodent population and things down, and giving that cat still a place to live, but not reproducing, because as you guys probably know, they reproduce very quickly. Very, very quickly. They're quite prolific.
I would say that's how I got my cat, Jax.
Is that right?
Yeah, so Jax was born out at the country club, was just running around, and it was January, and actually my wife and kids were coming home, and they saw something that they thought was like a possum on the side of the road, and the kids were telling me about it when they went into the house, and my wife's like, should we go back and see what it is? And then sure enough we did, and it was extremely cold and really nasty in that winter, and we brought Jax home and warmed him up a little bit, and he's now a cat that associates as a dog.
I love those cat dogs.
Yeah. So we got him taken care of, and then he likes to go outside, and he'll go walk around the neighborhood with us, and they still go out. And I think there's still some cats, from that litter that run around. So every now and then he gets to see his brother and sister out there.
It's a reunion out there.
Yeah.
And you can tell sometimes they all look similar too. You'd be like, oh yeah, that's got to be one of your brothers out there.
He does. He looks just like a Siamese cat. So he's just gorgeous. And we've had several cats over our lifetime, but he's just a fantastic one to have too. And then we have 2 dogs. And so our dogs are dogs that we had got from my father-in-law who'd passed away recently, and kind of have taken on those animals. Tell us what that looks like. So if there's somebody out there that's looking for like an adoption process, what does that look like?
Absolutely. So at Humane Ohio, while we're primarily a spay-neuter clinic, we actually started an adoption program a few years ago because we saw there's such a huge need, especially for the cats. So we only have a cat adoption program, but we work with a lot of other shelters and rescue groups that adopt out dogs, and we help get them prepared before they find their forever home. But at Humane Ohio, we have a foster-based adoption program. So the cats and kittens, while they're waiting for that forever home, they're in a foster home, which is a great thing to do. So if somebody's looking to share some love and open up their home and heart to a little homeless kitten, we provide all the medical care, food, supplies, litter, everything. You just provide the love, and then until they find that forever home. It's greater if maybe somebody's got some more time at home, or retired, or want to get the grandkids or something involved. It would be a really fun thing to do. And we are always looking for more foster homes. And kind of how you said, people sometimes, somebody passes away, and unfortunately we do see a lot of cats come into our program because there was a death in the family, and so we're able to help those. And the more foster homes we have, the more animals we're able to help, since we're not set up like a normal shelter.
I would guess you would probably have a fair number of people. Okay, I have to admit, the first thing that popped into my mind was, okay, this is like putting all of the candy right by the checkout line, right? And you're leaving, and oh my gosh, you know what? I'll just grab one candy bar. Or the kids are there. It's like, can I? Okay, so you foster a kitten, and I'm sure they fall in love with the kitten.
Oh yes.
And then how many times do you? I know it's hard to put a number on it, but do you have a lot of people that just say, you know what, we're going to keep this one?
Oh, yeah, and we call it a foster failure, which is the best way to use the term failure. Like, that's a good thing in our world. Like, we want you to foster fail, but then still continue to foster, too. We would love that. I say that happens more often than it's not. I think all of us that work at Humane Ohio, I think I foster failed maybe 6 animals at this point in my life, probably more. But yeah, you get attached, and you see them, kind of become part of your home and your routine and your family and life. And then to think of them going somewhere else, like that's kind of hard. So it does take somebody, a very special person, to be a successful foster. But there could be worse things than falling in love with your foster.
Oh yeah, well that's what
animal.
happened with Jax, right? You picked him up and he never left.
Yeah, he's been great. And, I think there's also a lot to be said about that too. We took on the 2 dogs because of the loss of her father, but there's some cases that you have like a husband and wife, and you have one of the people who passed away. I can even think about like in my own grandparents' situation where, they hadn't had animals for so long, but I think there's so many mental benefits. We talk about where we're at in society today with it's stressful. It's stressful with work. It's stressful with, inflation. It's stressful with just society as a whole. And, being a foster or taking in a cat can have so many good benefits. So, for somebody who has lost a loved one and you're looking for a little bit of companionship, you're looking for somebody, who's excited when you get home and, ready to hang out with you and, just wants a little loving, an animal can be so good emotionally for you, and you probably see a lot of those benefits too.
We sure do, and there's actually studies that show that when you start petting a dog or a cat, your blood pressure goes down, your heart rate goes down. just all of the emotional, physical, all these benefits for these guys. They keep people more active. You know, a lot of people maybe not think of like the cats as like going out for walks, except yours, it sounds like, is the exception. But just playing in the house and having somebody to interact with. And, you know, they wake you up every morning, pounce on your chest and want their breakfast. Like, that's why I do what I do. I love animals just so much, and they bring so much joy to people's lives. And so, I mean, whether it's fostering or adopting or just even being around animals, it goes a very, very long way.
So I'll tell you, you'll get a kick out of this. So my daughter in college, I told her, absolutely no way, shape, or form are you getting a dog. No way, because what's going to happen, you're playing softball, you've got school, you got practice, workouts, all that. You don't have any time when you travel. The dog's coming home to me, and that's not going to happen, right? So she gets a cat. She gets a 3-legged cat.
Oh, I love it.
It was like really cool. I mean, this 3-legged cat is, and the way this cat, it's called Anakin is the name of it. We're Star Wars fans.
Love it.
And
That's
it
pretty
is
good.
the craziest thing to see this cat with 3 legs. The one that's gone is, and it's at the shoulder, on the front shoulder. And I mean, it jumps around like a 4-legged cat. It was it's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
They are the most resilient. I mean, we've seen cats, like the feral cats especially, come in, I mean, eyeballs like hanging out and like just really, really sad situations. And these cats like, oh, hey, like no big deal. I mean,
9 lives.
Yeah, 9 lives, exactly. I mean, they just, it's incredible to see. So we've seen quite a few come through our adoption program with just really unique stories, like hit by car cats and just some really sad things. But like nobody told them that. They didn't know that happened to them.
Right.
They just they live in the moment, and I think that's we can really learn that from animals.
Well, I think, a lot of that, too, if you think about humans are the same way. I mean, we learn a lot from animals, and it's your outlook and just being involved. And so, if I think about things, we talk about how it's just good for the soul to be a foster. But I also think about, the other things and ways that people can get involved and, help out. What are some of the, volunteer opportunities that you guys have at Humane Ohio?
Yeah, great question. So kind of with COVID, as I'm sure with a lot of organizations, our volunteering kind of took a little new twist. So we did move to volunteers doing stuff off-site. We actually have some volunteers that do like sewing projects for us. So they make like covers for those live traps that cats come in, or like catnip pillows, things like that. So it's a way they can still do something fun that's giving back to our organization. We are hoping to be starting back up with in-person volunteering opportunities somewhat soon. But really the fostering is that big one, or even just donating items. Like people collect their newspapers for us and come drop it off, once a month. And it goes such a long way, being we are a nonprofit organization. We rely so heavily on donations to help do the work that we do.
Well, that was a question I was that was a great lead-in. How do you get your funding? Being a nonprofit, why don't you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Absolutely. So like we talked about, we are a low-cost clinic. So like our outdoor cat package, it's $29.
Wow.
Normal indoor cats, $60. Dogs are $100. And then we have other services we can offer, but it's very minimal compared to some full-service veterinary clinics. So we rely very heavily on fundraising is a really big one, along with grants. We write grants to try to help keep the costs low for our services, because we know a lot of people, they can't afford that. And, maybe their pet is a family member that they're looking out for them. They want to do everything they can for them, and we want to be able to help with that. So right now, with COVID again, fundraising has looked a little different, a little unique. We used to do a spaghetti and no balls dinner and silent auction every year. I mean, we're a spay neuter clinic. We got to have some puns, right?
I love it.
Yeah. So we used to do that every year. Unfortunately, that has been put on hold. So we have kind of taken a twist with that, and we've been using all of our silent auction items, or what would have been a silent auction item, And every Friday on our Facebook page, we do a Facebook Live, and it's called $5 Friday, and people can donate $5 or more if they're feeling generous, either on Facebook or on our website. And then all of those donations, like your donation is an entry into a drawing, and we do that drawing live on Mondays. So we just had a Cinco de Mayo basket. We had a Mother's Day one. They're just fun things. You get a chance to win something cool, and it helps support local animals in the work that we do. So super, super fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And so again, anybody that's watching, if you're following us on Facebook Live or if you're not, just jump over. You can see our banner there at Facebook Live, and we'll give you a link in the comment section below. Get involved in that event to help with some of the fundraising that we're doing to, again, do great things right here in the community and help people out and take advantage of some of those opportunities. So you've kind of put things on hold a little bit for the larger events. I did notice when I stopped over to the website, there's ways that companies can get involved too. Any type of small business owner, are there anything that you've been doing with small business owners to get them plugged in?
Yeah, so we've been trying to come up with some unique fundraising. We do food trucks once a week come to our organization, so kind of like a small business. And we're working on a fundraiser with a local brewing company that's going to be a little bit later this year. We also have businesses they can sponsor different events or even like a kennel sponsorship at our clinic. So you could make a donation. There's a little fancy plaque that goes on one of the kennels that would be used for a dog or cat coming in for surgery. And it's just a great way to give back, and that's used every single day to help a new animal. So businesses can definitely get involved, and even just from like a donation standpoint, it could be monetary or even with items. If it was something, if they wanted to donate something towards our $5 Friday fundraising, it goes a really long way.
I think something else I wanted to make sure that I point out, I know we share this on the show when we talk about it in the past, but those people who are over the age 72, they have something called a required minimum distribution, meaning that each and every year with retirement accounts, they have to take a portion of the money out. And a lot of the people that we work with here in Northwest Ohio are definitely about service to others. They want to help and do something. And that could be whether it's their church or, Hooves, who we love, or, any other organization like yours. But if you're listening and, you like what Humane Ohio does, or if you like some type of charitable organization and you're over 72, keep in mind that you can take a portion or all of your required minimum distribution and donate it directly to the charitable organization like Humane Ohio that you want to help out. There could be substantial tax benefits for you, meaning keep your income a little bit lower. Of course, you'd always want to consult with your accountant and know the ins and outs of the tax rules, but that's another way that you can make a bigger impact for those of you who do want to financially contribute and get involved in doing a little bit more.
And it goes a very long way. We actually see a lot of people make monetary donations that way. And even something we have, it's called Free Will that we have. It's on our website where people can use it's a free will tool, and they can choose to leave Humane Ohio in their will to us, so they know, for years to come. So it's kind of a neat tool. It's on humaneohio.org. People can check that out. But yeah, we rely on our community. We help our community. Our community helps us. I mean, we are committed to the 419. I know that's what you guys are talking about. So it goes a very, very long way, and we just love the pet people in our area.
Sure. And with pets, people love their pets. I mean, they really do. And like we said, and I'll say it again and repeat, there's something to be said for you come home and there's unconditional love. It doesn't matter how bad your day was. When you get home, I'm a dog person. They're waiting there with their tails awake and nothing but unconditional love. And people love their pets. They spend money on their pets, and this is a way to really help out Humane Ohio and help out some of the people that are a little bit less fortunate with their pets. I do have one quick question. Is there any animals other than dogs and cats that you work on?
Unfortunately, at Humane Ohio, we don't. We get a lot of calls about spaying and neutering rabbits. And it's something our vets could do it, but we just see such a high volume that we just can't keep up with the demand for services right now. That we don't. Personally, I see all kinds of animals at home.
Yep.
I've got my own little retirement home for senior dogs, I call it. So I'm like, I hope they were listening, so they planned their retirement while here. But yeah, at Humane Ohio, it is dogs and cats.
Perfect.
Yeah, occasionally somebody might show up with a random other animal for help, and we'll help guide them to where they need to go.
Perfect.
So,
Awesome.
Yeah.
How many animals do you have at home then?
Oh my gosh, I wish I knew. I have 7 senior dogs right now.
Okay.
They're all over 12 years old, and I've got a couple cats and some horses and a donkey and a special needs goat.
Special needs goat.
Yes, she is a special needs goat. Her name is Smudge, and she is my everything.
Awesome.
So pets have a very special place in my heart. And if anybody wants to get involved in Humane Ohio, check out humaneohio.org. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. It's down at the bottom of the screen there. You can check that out, and we will answer any questions that you have. And thank everybody for listening
Awesome.
and for having us on.
Yeah, we really appreciate it.
Humane Ohio definitely committed to the 419, to our four-legged or sometimes three-legged friends here in the 419. Again, humaneohio.org is the website. I just saw you guys last year did your 200,000th surgery. So
We sure
yeah.
did. Yeah, so we didn't talk numbers, but we do at least over 17,000 spay and neuter surgeries
Wow.
a year. Yeah, and we have 2 full-time veterinarians right now, so like do the math. That's insane.
That's a lot.
And there is a nationwide veterinary shortage right now that we've been kind of feeling at Humane Ohio. We've been trying to fill some vacancies with our veterinarian positions. So we're hoping to hire a couple more to take the strain off of our poor ladies there right now. So hopefully in the future.
Fingers crossed. And again, if you feel so inclined as to make a donation, you can go to humaneohio.org. Or if you want to take your required minimum distribution, as Nolan said, and make that donation directly from your RMD accounts, there are ways that you have to go about that. Again, tax savings for you, and then more for Humane Ohio. That is something that the team at America's Retirement Headquarters can help out with. Give a call, 419-794-3030, or go online to americasretirementheadquarters.com. We're going to wrap up the show here in just a second, but really quick, Scott, I want to touch back on the fact that, your dog Harper that you just picked up from Humane Ohio. Are you familiar with the meme of the father who doesn't want the dog, and then, years later they're sitting on the couch together?
No.
I'd have a feeling this is going to be you. So I look forward to hearing the stories of you and Harper coming up down the line.
Guilty
Definitely
as
looking forward to
charged.
that. Oh, it's already happened.
Already. It's funny. Nolan said Jax is the cat dog.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen she's 9 months old, 10 months old now. She plays like a cat. It's the craziest thing, but in any case, yeah, it's already happening.
There will no doubt be more stories to come. But unfortunately, we have come to the end of another edition of America's Retirement Headquarters. One more time, let me give out the number, 419-794-3030. You can always find us online, americasretirementheadquarters.com. We appreciate you spending a little part of your day with us, joining us here. I hope you found it insightful. Hope you have a great week ahead of you. And guys, as we wrap up, I want to leave you with the final word.
I would just say if you're looking for a little love, a little compassion this week, get a hold of Humane Ohio. They'll help you out and find somebody to match you up with that will be excited every time you come home.